Okay, hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome back officially to the school board meeting. I know you've all seen each other at committee meetings. Looking forward to a good meeting tonight. I'm Vicki Barbero, the chair of Manhattan Community Board 5, and I would like to call on the board's first vice chair, Nick Athenow, to call to order tonight's public hearing of Community Board 5. Nick.
Thanks, Vicki. Good evening, everyone. This is the public hearing of Manhattan Community Board 5. I'm Nick Athenow. I'll be your chair for the public hearing. During this public hearing, members of the public are invited to speak for 2 minutes per person on the subject set forth in the agenda for this public hearing or on any topic that relates to the affairs of the community district. If you would like to address the board before it votes on any matters tonight, now is your opportunity to do so. Although there will be a public session during the full board meeting later, that public session will be at the end of the meeting after all the votes have taken place. So if you want to address the board on any matters before it votes tonight, now is your time to do so. If you'd like to speak during the public hearing, please use the raised hand button now. When you're recognized, we will allow you to speak, but you must unmute yourself. In order for you to be heard, you will have to unmute yourself. We will begin the public hearing with our first speaker, Evelyn. Evelyn, we're going to promote you. No, Evelyn, we're going to ask you to speak.
Hello, can you hear me?
Evelyn?
Yes, can you hear me?
Evelyn? Evelyn, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Please proceed.
Uh,
We can hear you.
yes, I'm from the office of the New York City Comptroller, so I'm looking to speak when with the electics portion.
Can you say that again?
I'm from
Comptroller's office, so she would come on the elected.
Oh, okay. We'll be calling the electeds and their representatives during the next portion of the meeting.
Thank you.
Sure. So if anyone wants to speak during the public hearing, please use the raise hand button now. Next up, Patricia Kirshner. Patricia? Patricia, you there?
I'm trying to unmute.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't quite realize that this wasn't a regular public session. I didn't realize it was a public hearing, but I'll be quick anyway. This is about, it concerns the community, particularly my community on my street. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the illegal cannabis shops that are all over the place. I just want to thank the city for the city council for setting up their regulation to go after landlords. So my question is, I have a pot shop that's selling illegal cannabis on my ground floor at 111 West 28th Street. We also have an illegal illuminated sign. And I just want to know, and I don't know that you'll be able to answer this, but maybe you can direct me somehow as to who's managing the enforcement of going after these landlords. And I have spoken to my city council member person. I see Lori is on the screen here too. So hi there. I don't know where my camera is. But I'm just quite distressed that they're proliferating. They're all over the place. And it is an attractive nuisance. We have people hanging out outside our doors all hours of the day and night. And that's, I guess, what I just wanted to ask the community board. What's your policy? How can you help me?
So my recommendation would be that you reach out to the board office by email. The email address is office@cb5.org, and
Yes.
they can direct you from there.
I've done that. I've contacted my assemblyman. I've contacted the Office of Cannabis Management. I've contacted my city council member. I've contacted the Borough of Manhattan, the Borough President's office. So I'm just, I'll try again at the office email tomorrow. And maybe I can get a little more help here. What I want to know is who is managing the enforcement and how's that being done?
Okay, I'm sure your question will be answered by your email to the board office.
Okay, hasn't been yet, but thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
Patricia.
All righty, bye.
Next up, Kate Madigan. Kate, please unmute yourself.
Hello, good afternoon. Kate Madigan from the Public. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Good afternoon, Community Board 5. My name is Kate Madigan, Government Affairs Coordinator at the Public Theater. So I am here to give you updates about our renovation and construction in Central Park. And since CB5 lines the southern border of Central Park, I would like to speak to you. We just celebrated our 61st anniversary of Shakespeare in the Park this summer with a timely production of Hamlet and our Public Works production of The Tempest. In an effort to keep all stakeholders informed of our ongoing Delacorte renovation plans, I am sharing this status. We successfully completed a limited phase 1 of construction in the spring of this year and resumed regular performance activity over the summer, of course. We will begin phase 2 of construction at the Delacorte in October. Construction is expected to last 18 months, and Free Shakespeare in the Park will resume performances at the Delacorte in summer 2025. The Public Theater programming will occur in other locations throughout the 5 boroughs in the summer of 2024, bringing the spirit of Free Shakespeare in the Park directly to New Yorkers. The project team has prioritized diverse, equitable hiring as it invests in the longevity and accessibility of NYC's cultural infrastructure. And if constituents have any questions or want additional detail on impact to the surrounding areas, they are welcome to reach out to Delacorte Renovation at publictheater.org. And I'll put everything in the chat so people can get the email, and please visit our website at publictheater.org with regularly updated project status. So thank you so much. And if you have any questions, I will take those now, but have a great evening.
Thank you, Kate. Next speaker will be Lisa Wager. Lisa, please unmute yourself.
Okay. Hi, I'm Lisa Wager, Director of Government and Community Relations at the Fashion Institute of Technology, SUNY on West 27th Street. I have to say that after listening to the full hour and 45 minutes of discussion on the Owl bus stop on YouTube this afternoon, I don't think I need to add to that at this meeting, so I'm just going to share a few FIT updates. Classes started on August 28th and the campus is buzzing. The new exhibition, Food and Fashion, opened this week at the museum at FIT. Food and fashion are 2 modes of expression central to our daily lives, right? They address humankind's most basic needs and offer a significant window into our societies. The histories of food and fashion as consumer and cultural products have converged over the past 3 centuries, with fashion designers turning to food themes and motifs to comment on critical topics ranging from cultural identity to sustainability, social activism, and body politics, and to ideas related to femininity, domesticity, nostalgia, and consumerism. Food and Fashion is a major exhibition exploring the relationship between these related topics, featuring over 90 works and includes garments, accessories, and textiles by designers such as Chanel, Delvaux, Comme des Garçons, Carla Fernandez, Stella Jean, Judith Lieber, Issey Miyake, William Morris, Moschino, Rick Owens, Charles Frederick Worth, and Jason Wu. It's comprehensive. And we'll be offering a free tour on Monday, November 13th, when the museum is closed to the public. Let Marissa, Kim, or Mike know if you'd like to join. I'll send them the sign-up information. Of course, Chelsea is replete with cultural organizations, and we're pleased that the museum at FIT, the only museum devoted to fashion in New York City, free and open to the public Tuesday through Saturday, is part of that. Another way we're doing good in the neighborhood is our broad and deep commitment to sustainability. Over the summer, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, known as NYSERDA, awarded FIT a Sustainable Leader Badge for our setting and achieving ambitious carbon reduction goals through comprehensive clean energy investments and for having staff positions dedicated to advancing clean energy and low carbon solutions across campus and in the community. Only 38 of the 150 colleges and universities participating in the state's Clean Green Campus program have won these badges. It's great to be back, and boy, the weather is lovely. See you next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Would anyone else online like to address the board? Please use the raise hand button now. Is there anyone in the room that would like to address the board during the public hearing? Raise your hand now. Seeing none, that ends the public hearing. Back to the full board. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nick. I will now open the full board meeting of Manhattan Community Board 5. I'm Vicki Barbera, Chair. Just to explain our process, we'll start our full board meeting by hearing from any elected officials that are in attendance and who wish to address the board. The elected officials will be followed by any representatives of other electeds who may report to the board for 2 minutes each. The board then enters into its business session, which consists of the chair's report, committee reports, resolutions, a question and comment period, and voting. Comments or questions from either applicants or the public, or if additional information is needed, are allowed only with the chair's approval. We will then conduct a public session, which is not a question and answer session. It is for members of the public who would like to apprise the board of any item that they did not speak to the board about during the public hearing. The public session is followed by any other business and then adjournment. I will start the evening's meeting calling on elected officials to either come to the podium if in attendance or by using the raised hand feature if attending remotely. I see we have tonight with us our Assembly member, Tony Simone. I think this is your first visit. Am I right? I think you came before you were, didn't you come to us? We go.
But Harvey has other events that we can let him know before me.
Pardon?
We can let some member of Harvey I've seen go before me. We can speak.
I said no, I'll be seeing in report.
Oh, sure, I'm sorry.
And it's for 2 events.
Okay, very good. Welcome to both of you, first time here.
Thank you.
At the podium, yes.
Thank you. So yes, my name's Harvey Epstein. I'm a Assembly member in the 74th district. So in the redistricting that we did started at the beginning of the year, a lot of my, I very little community boards 4 or 5 before, and I've had a lot more of the neighborhood at our district. So I wanted to come in person. We have first meeting since the pandemic, just to welcome you all back. I know this has not been an easy road for anyone here, and going back has its own issues and complications. I served on a community board 3 for 14 years, chair of the committees and chair of the board, so I understand what you're all doing and the volunteer time you're doing. And so I really want to appreciate you all for making the effort to serve our community and serve the city. And community boards play really a valuable role in the city. And just I heard the speaker ask about the cannabis issue, because literally every day in my office we get calls around all the illegal cannabis shops. So we met with the Office of Cannabis Management, who is the agency who is tasked with doing enforcement. They have the state agency who has the responsibility. They're working with the sheriff's office and the tax department to try to ensure that all the illegal cannabis stores are being shut down. That's why bother having a legal market if we have a flourishing illegal market. It doesn't make any sense. Unfortunately, they only have 10 enforcers for the entire state of New York, and so we're really trying to rely on the state tax department, which has got 400 people, the sheriff's department, and the NYPD. There's some conflict, to be honest, between the NYPD, which is the mayor, and the Office of Cannabis Management. The NYPD position at this point is they don't have the authority to close down the shops. I think my reading, I don't want to speak for Tony, but the reading of the assembly and the reading of OCM is that they do have authority to shut them down. But that's really, I think, a big problem the students are having to grapple with. In their legislation they passed this year, we really defined it up to $10,000 a day for all the illegal requests that exist. The fines can be reported onto the business or the property owner. And we really need this better enforcement. I think it's really troubling to see how we're really undermining what we did around legalizing cannabis and creating a legalization framework and giving people the opportunity to get licenses, and then really allowing this illegal market to flourish. And so I think that's something that we will continue to grapple with. I think hopefully there'll be better coordination with the mayor's office and the NYPD and the Office of Cannabis Management. But I think there's been some conflict over the past couple of months, and so that has worked out as well. We have a bunch of upcoming events, and I think Joanna from my office is back in Stanton, and Kathleen Tapia normally comes to CB5, but yeah, sick today, so Joanna joined me today. You know, we have a bunch of events. We call like people in the community want to meet with me. We call these hang with Harvey. People can come and talk to me about any issues that are going on in the community. We have a couple of shredding events that are going. We're going to be doing both in Bellevue Park, which is a little further east, I guess, and we have the senior planning clinic. If people have issues they want to talk to a lawyer or any kind of senior planning issues, we have those going on. So if you have any questions about those events, we're happy to talk about it. And we hear a lot about congestion pricing, and I think there's a lot of concerns around, I think, one, the rollout that we've seen from the Transportation Mobility Board and the MTA, and the expectations that we had when we initially passed it in 2019. The expectations were that it was going to be a comprehensive plan. Unfortunately, we've seen it, at least for now, not really being accomplished the way we put in the legislation. You know, we talked about the issues really related to people coming into the congestion zone, driving into the congestion zone. There's some talk about costs being associated with people leaving the congestion zone, which to me doesn't make sense for relationship to congestion pricing. Because if you're leaving the zone, you're reducing congestion, not increasing congestion. The question about the cost, whether there's going to be a residential discount, which is what I pushed for in the legislation. But the bill came out, the final legislation passed that excluding people under $60,000. I have legislation to extend that because I think $60,000 is way too low. And honestly, really regressive because a family of one, $60,000 is very different for a family of five who has an income of $60,000. So I think that's a really deeply problematic thing. The expectation is the mobility board is supposed to come out with their final decisions around cost, fee, and structures, whether there's going to be a differentiation between night and daytime, coming into Manhattan at 9 a.m. on Monday is very different than coming into Manhattan at 9 p.m. on Sunday, and whether there's going to be differentiation in price. Those issues are going to have to be worked out because they expect this program to roll out in May of 2024. So there's been a lot of comments between mine and Tony and other people have really commented on this. But, you know, our job is to, one, reduce congestion, there's a climate issue. I think there's an issue with Ubers and Lyft. The other piece is trying to figure out what we need to do on other sites. I have a bill around residential parking. So the problem is, like, nothing's for free in New York, but you can park in New York for free. You know, every major city in the country has a residential parking permit system. New York City is was one of the exceptions. The reality is, even if you pay the congestion fee, if you can park on the streets of New York for free, people will continue to do it. If you have to pay for congestion fees as well as parking, is going to be the real disincentive. So we're trying to move forward with ensuring that there's a residential parking system in New York City, which will help people who live in the congestion zone. You know, hopefully show the discount for folks in the zone like London has, which has got a 90% discount, and making sure the costs are differentiation between the networks. Again, if you have to look at the rest of my report, and if the chair is open, if there's a question, I'm happy to take that.
Okay, any questions? No?
All right, well, thank you all and have a great evening and welcome back to being in person. And if there are tweaks to the legislation, I know Tony and we've heard from other boards that they do want to do some modifications of the in-person meeting requirement. And so I'm working on a bill on some of the public meetings, especially for community boards and community education councils, which don't really have the resources that other entities do, like the assembly or other government resources where they have a lot more resources to run it. So there are suggestions. I know that CB3, CB6 has really given us feedback about how we might want to tweak the legislation.
Thank you so much. Very nice. We look forward to working with you.
You too.
Okay, Assembly Member Simone, would you indulge us one more request. Our borough president is on a tight schedule and asked if he could be first. Thank you so much. Borough President Levine?
Thank you so much, and thank you, Assembly Member. I promise I'll be quick, and I apologize for not being there in person. A busy night of events running around, and I hope the background noise is not too loud here. If it is, please let me know. But for all those reasons, I'll try and be brief. It's wonderful to see you there, CB5. I heard much of Assembly Member Epstein's report, and I second his desire to get residential parking permits in Manhattan, something we're working on, and perhaps we can get CB5 engaged on. I also presume he spoke about the hospital closure announced today of the Mount Sinai Beth Israel campus. And I am really disturbed by the hemorrhaging of hospital facilities in Lower Manhattan, really from 23rd Street South. We're left with very little emergency department capacity in particular. And so we're going to be working in the days ahead with our colleagues, including Assemblymember Epstein, not sure if he's still there, to really try and address this crisis at 16th Street and beyond. I want to thank this board for the way you've been leading on the Penn Station MSG fight. And we haven't spoken since the City Council committees voted, and today the full body on a 5-year extension of the MSG special permit. I feel really good about how that process has concluded. My own recommendation was for 5 years, but I want to thank this board for being so diligent. I know you recommended 3, but that's really helped move the conversation in the right direction. And I want to thank Land Use Chair Leila Lal-Gisico, who I presume is there. I can't see everybody, for just being so smart and so engaged, and also a very good partner on this. So we had a great press conference with Assemblymember Simone and a number of other government leaders last week, actually earlier this week, in which we called for a grand entrance on 8th Avenue. And we're very excited about that being our next big fight as we work for a great new Penn Station. More on that to come. We are going to be considering at Borough Board, Manhattan Borough Board, in the next week or two, a resolution to address the crisis in housing court for tenants facing eviction. And we are asking Manhattan community boards, including CB5, to speak up on this. We have seen a steady increase in the number of eviction cases month by month in housing court, to the extent that it has overwhelmed the system of tenant legal service providers. And there are now thousands of tenants every month going without an attorney as they face their eviction proceedings. This is undermining the right to counsel, which we fought for and proud to have passed in the City Council. And it is undoubtedly leading to families being evicted and landing in the homeless shelter system. So we're calling on the state court system to slow the calendaring of cases. And there's good legislation in the state, which perhaps Assemblymember Simone can speak about. I think you might be one of the leaders on that bill, Tony, but I know you care a lot about this issue. We would love to see CB5 pass a resolution on right to counsel, because we do have this vote coming up in Borough Board. The date escapes me, but in the next week or two. I think I'm going to pause and wrap up and keep it short because of the noise and because you have Assemblymember Simone. I do want to introduce, perhaps you already know her, but we have a great new Community Board 5 liaison in Bracha Rosenberg, who I think she's on the Zoom. Not sure if she's in person. Oh, she's in person. So she's going to be great. And I'm excited about her. And lastly, I'll just say to anyone who is going to be observing Rosh Hashanah, which starts tomorrow night, wish you Shana Tova and a sweet and happy new year. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll pass it back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Assemblymember Simone, thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me? I'm a council member Tony Simone from the 75th AD, which includes B5. Quickly.
I think you have to turn it on.
Oh.
Is it on?
It is on.
Because Marisa said you couldn't hear in the back.
Yeah, just speak, just lean into it.
How's that? So that, no big thing. I'll talk about it. I'm a big mouth, that's my husband always says. So I'm Tony Simone, a new settlement member from the 75th. Thank you, CB5, as I want to echo what Harvey and Mark said, for all your hard work. I was on CB4 ages ago when I didn't have gray hair. And I know all the hours you put in for so many important issues. And I know all the electeds from the governor on down look at what the community board resolutions recommend or they don't recommend. And only the smart ones pay close attention where you are on all the issues. I will be brief, although usually we elected officials say that you should be scared. Two of my bills were recently signed by Governor Hochul. One I was carried with Senator Alderman Siegel about closing a loophole in the discrimination law that will protect unpaid interns on the basis of gender identity and expression. Another of one of my bills that was signed by the governor extends the DEC, the Department of Environmental Conservation, authority to oversee the conservation of sharks around and offshores because of the climate crisis we're going through. Many sharks clearly have been a threat on our beaches to monitor the change in their population, how they affect humans in the population. And then recently I was on Good Day New York about my new bill on e-bikes. Also a partner with in the Senate, State Senator Harman Siegel, Brad Harman Siegel. We're working on this bill to license commercial e-bikes. It's not a silver bullet to the e-bike drama that we have and the safety issues, but it's a start. And just want to preface this, I love e-bikes and e-scooters, but we feel that we have to hold some of the companies accountable that are pressuring many of the deliveries to deliver in such a quick pace. There's one app that says, get your food in 15 minutes. As a New Yorker, I'm always in a hurry, like my food quick too. But I want to make sure that there's an education component in the bill, and we're looking at other amendments. Basically, the focus of the bill is to keep not just the e-bike delivery folks safe, have them licensed so we can trace if there's an accident, but also to keep pedestrians safe. I won't talk about the larger issue here. We can talk about that for hours. The bigger problem is infrastructure. We've never created infrastructure to have the proper use of e-bikes and protect them from cars and pedestrians from the e-bikes. But we'll look at other solutions beyond this bill. I wanted to talk about Penn Station. I don't want to repeat what Mark said, but I was at a press conference earlier this week with Mark Levine, Jerry Nadler, Eric Bottcher, leaders from CB5, with Leah Longisco, who's been a leader in this since day one, calling for a grand entrance on 8th Avenue. But beyond that, trying to ensure that the governor and everyone keeps to their promise. It's an open RFP process to make sure whoever builds and designs Penn Station has the most fabulous Penn Station. In an ideal world, moving MSG, short of that, ensuring that it puts commuters and residents first. It's not about egos of the transit agencies fighting over what they think is great or a plan by one person or one agency, but what is the best Penn Station for the money, which includes, I'm not talking for every elected, removing the Houlis Center Theater, which is underutilized, which we feel would bring more light, a bigger streetscape for Penn Station. And without going more into the Penn Station, I feel like because of CB5's advocacy and the leaders on CB5 and other electeds before my time elected office, we moved the conversation for a better Penn Station. Now we just need that RFP to be issued. We need to start putting shovels into the ground. We want to see the numbers. We're not endorsing any one plan. However, the ASDM plan is intriguing. We hope that the RFP process will open it up to other plans so we can compare and contrast, but we need this to happen soon. With a presidential election upon us, we don't know if we'll have that federal money in 2 years. So we want to make sure we move quickly and clearly transparency so the public can see what is going into this plan. Lastly, I want to talk about cannabis shops. I know an earlier resident asked about that, and to add to what Harvey said, my colleague, is we added some teeth to the law, but I still don't feel it went far enough. It was a compromise. Unfortunately, right now, you cannot close a legal cannabis store as quick as you would like. everyone knows on this board, especially from your work in the past, if you have an illegal liquor store or you're selling, you can padlock it and close it within weeks. Right now, OCM is the agency in charge of enforcing these laws, which they never thought they would have to do this. And they're in a rush to hire enforcers based on the law we passed over this past session, my first session, to increase the fines and to levy taxes on all the past taxes they would owe if they were legal, and eventually padlock them and close them down. Right now, the process is too much like getting a parking ticket, is how the best analogy. You have to go to court, you have to prove there was an illegal amount of pot, and then you have to judge it. You can appeal it. It takes too long. I'm on the phone constantly in our district with all the identified legal cannabis stores, and we really need to put more teeth into the law. I'm talking to my colleagues across the state. We don't all agree. There is some disagreement that it could cause violence if you get the NYPD involved. But OCM just does not have the man or woman power right now to enforce the law we passed. So it's only a slight improvement. I feel like we have to go back next year and give more teeth to the law. And lastly on that, I feel that we really have to promote the legal market. The more legal stores open, the less it'll be, folks need to be educated. You cannot trust if you're going to a legal store. They're selling to kids. I have a problem right now on West 50th Street where they're marketing in different, attractive colors and advertising with music blasting to come and have free samples, which is completely illegal with no security. It's causing an issue with public safety, where there's another incident in Health Kitchen where, because it's a cash business, there was been drama with the shooting. Luckily, no one was killed or injured, but that is part of the problem. And you need to push the legal market more and educate folks about not shopping at the legal markets and closing these down. And I'll leave it at that. If you have any questions, thank you for all your hard work. I know that you have hours of thankless tasks the rest of the community doesn't always appreciate, but I know you like it still.
Thank you so much. It's so good to see you. Okay, do we have any electeds online? Okay, we now will have.
I'm still here from the comptroller's office.
I will call your names, okay? Just let me say, the reps will now be on for 2 minutes each and use the raised hand function. So the first person was it Evelyn?
Yes.
Okay. Go.
Can you hear me well?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight on behalf of the Office of the New York City Comptroller, Brad Lander. I just have a few updates for tonight. First, I would like to invite the Community Board 5 and the district to attend our Hispanic Heritage Celebration that will be on October 4th. It's a Wednesday, it's from 6 to 8:30, and it will be in Washington Heights at Alianza Dominicana. And this event will be geared towards the Latino or Latinx MWBE community, and it's an opportunity for them to engage directly with leaders from city agencies that will be there, as well as members of our team at the Comptroller's Office, and explore paths to collaboration and bring attention to their interests and concerns, and also to learn about specific tools that they can have to overcome the challenges involving contracting with the City of New York. Earlier today, I also sent a request of interest to all the Manhattan community boards, asking whether they will be interested in a training or a presentation of our New York City Climate Dashboard, which we launched on April last year to track the city's progress towards meeting its goals of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by the year 2050. So if you are interested, please let me know, and then we can have a member of our environmental and climate justice team come and present to your environmental committee, or any other platform you find appropriate. Then the last thing I want to bring attention today is to our information hub in regards to the migrant crisis. As you all know, during emergency situations, agencies are permitted to expedite procurement processes and bypass competitive bidding and integrity reviews. Since the city has entered into hundreds of emergency contracts across many agencies to provide shelter and meals and medical care, etc., to those asylum seekers, we decided to put all that information in one place, since there are very little coordination among the different agencies, and some of the information is bracketed in different data systems. So we created this hub of information that it fits from the information on the passport public database, and also the registered contracts with our office, and also communications we get from the mayor's office. So you can find all that information online.
You're over
And-
time. You wrap
okay.
up?
That's it. And thank you again for the opportunity. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. I'm gonna try to put that information there. If not,
Okay, Robin.
Thank you. Robin Force next.
Good evening. I will be physically with you next time. Good to see everybody. It's feels like a sea change in a good way. Picking up on what Evelyn was talking about regarding the asylum seeker crisis. Everybody knows, and everybody's been hearing in the news about the incredible impact on the New York City economy, with an estimate that this crisis will cost taxpayers $12 billion over the next 3 fiscal years. The mayor has been working assiduously trying to get help and support from the federal government, both in terms of financial support and also speeding up the process for work permits and so forth, and also with the governor. Without the help, I'm sure people heard, the mayor has asked all agencies for a 5% cut for the November plan. It's not a great way to sustain the kind of services that the mayor wants to offer. And we are hopeful that our federal and state partners will step up to the plate. New York is paying a price that should be paid as a national issue. Second, on a lighter note, the mayor has, I don't know if anybody heard or had heard, because it was kind of around the Labor Day weekend, but the mayor announced an initiative called Text with Eric. And you can communicate with the mayor's office directly on your cell phone. And I will give you the number quickly. I see my time is running out. It's 917-909-2288. You register, and if you have a question or a problem, you can feel free to text and you will get a reply. So I tried it myself and it works. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dana.
Could you repeat that
Dana,
number,
up
please?
up next is Dana.
917-909-2288.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank
Dana.
Okay, Dana, you're up next.
Hi, everyone. Can you see me and hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. I'm Dana. I'm from State Senator Liz Kruger's office. I know you usually see Alex tonight, but I'm stepping in for him. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. This month, Senator Krueger will be holding a 3-part virtual seminar series with experts from the Financial Planning Association of New York, and they will give talks on how to manage your personal finances and practical steps you can take to manage your financial life. We had the first seminar this Tuesday. It was on a guide to eliminating debt, understanding credit, credit cards, and your credit score. And you can access this recording on our Facebook, as well as a link that I will drop into the chat. Part 2 of the event is income tax planning, a brief overview of how much tax you pay and how to manage taxes effectively. And this will take place September 19th from 7 to 8. And part 3 is the power of investing, stocks, bonds, and alternative assets. This will be on September 26th from 7 to 8. And all recordings of our events will be available a few days after they take place. Our office is also holding an informational Zoom session about SCREE, which is a senior citizen rent increase exemption program. If you are rent stabilized and above 60 years old, you may qualify for this. The event will be on September 21st at 7 p.m. and I will include all the RSVP links to all these events in the chat. And as always, if you have anything to talk to our office about, you could feel free to call or email us at lkrueger@newyorksenate.gov. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next will be Franklin.
Hey everyone, it's good to see everyone again, and I hope you had a wonderful summer. Just a quick few updates for you folks. In March, Councilmember Powers introduced a bill which would establish a training program for lithium-ion batteries using e-bikes and other powered mobile devices. As we all know, fires sparked by unsafe and unregulated batteries have been increasing at an alarming rate from 104 in 2021 to over 220 last year. So far this year, there have been 175, meaning we will exceed last year's record. Tragically, 14 people have died this year in these fires. In other words, fires are happening more often and more people are dying because of them. The training program will allow individuals, especially delivery drivers, to obtain a regulated battery at a reduced cost or no cost in exchange for turning in their unsafe one. Additionally, the established office or agency would be required to conduct and engage in an outreach campaign regarding the training program. Today, the council passed this bill with bipartisan support. On a lighter news, soak up the very tail end of summer with an outdoor movie. Our office has partnered with Parks Department and the Mayor's Office for Media and Entertainment for a summer movie series. The last movie in the summer series will be Friday, September 30 at St. Martin's Park. The final movie would be Doctor Strange. I'm a big Marvel guy, so you'll probably see me there. The movie will begin at dusk, but estimated time starts is 7:30. Last but not least, a few things that unite New Yorkers are getting rid of rats. As part of the city's ongoing effort to curb rat population, the sanitation department has rolled out new rules requiring all chain restaurants regarding how they store and contain their garbage. If you're considered a chain restaurant, you have 5 or more locations. That came into effect on September 5th, so we're about roughly 10 days in. If you would like more information on those programs, feel free to email me or our office and I can give you more information. Thanks. Happy to see you all again.
Thank you. Next up will be Robin. I think she's going.
Yeah.
James. She presented.
She's done. Yeah.
James.
Hello, everyone. Great to see you all again. You can hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, great. First of all, again, it's great to see everyone. I hope everybody had a really wonderful and relaxing summer. I'll just jump right in. A couple of actually legislative updates. Even though it was summer, our team kept working hard. And Assemblymember Boris has proposed 2 bills that deal with e-bikes, which I feel like have been mentioned once or twice or 3 times tonight and probably at every meeting moving forward. The first piece of legislation deals with data collection. Anybody that knows Assemblymember Boris knows he is kind of a nerd when it comes to data and analytics and things like that. And we realize there's really a blind spot when it comes to data collection on accidents involving e-bikes. Even the official NYPD accident reporting form just says like basically automobile or bicycle or pedestrian. And there's nowhere except in the notes itself to indicate if a vehicle involved in an accident was actually an e-bike, a moped, etc. So one bill would change that so we can actually start recording data. The next bill would require businesses that employ those driving e-bikes like deliveristas, etc. The businesses would be required to require their drivers to take an annual online safety training course, like rules of the road, things like that. Another bill that I believe we just proposed today, so I'll be able to send everyone more details in the future on a bill number, is to allow community boards to continue meeting virtually if they so choose. So I'll have more details on that in the future. And last but not least, officially, we are hosting a town hall. I can send more details again to the email chain, but it will be Wednesday, October 25th at the CUNY Graduate Center. We're very excited for it. Some other elected officials are going to join, and you can all ask Assemblymember Boris any questions that you want. Thanks so much, everyone, and great to see you all again.
Thank you. Eric, next.
Hi, everyone. So great seeing everyone in the super tiny box on my screen, but I just wanted to update you on some things that we've been up to over the summer. We had a super busy few months. It's crazy to think that summer is almost over. By no means want to update you on everything we've done, but a few highlights include we conducted a gun buyback for the early months in the summer. We recovered 50 firearms, including some semi-automatic weapons and ghost guns, which we were really happy about because those are particularly difficult for us to track down. We also held our Art of Healing Festival, one in Harlem and actually more recently one in Washington Heights. This is kind of on the other side of gun violence and in general, just violence across the board, allowing the community an opportunity to heal from violence through the arts. So it involved a lot of spoken word, music, dance, things like that. It was a lot of fun. We also concluded our high school internship program, which is always a lot of fun for the students too, because at the end of it, they get to present a policy proposal to our executive staff, and some of them actually see them taken into action. And on the subject of students, we've been very active in the back to school season, trying to go to as many community groups as we can and community events, to provide backpacks and other school supplies, things like that. In more recent news, we recently announced the first ever repayment of wages to workers through our Worker Protection Unit and a first of its kind stolen wage fund that we created in partnership with the New York State Department of Labor. You can look at more into the case on the press release that we posted on our website. We basically got 7 workers a $50,000 payout that was promised to them for nearly a total of 1,800 hours of work. Last thing that I would like to mention is an update on our Neighborhood Navigators program. We recently announced a total of $6 million in funding to the Bridge, who will help us create a network of service providers and outreach teams to reach people before they enter the criminal justice system and address issues like underlying conditions, including mental health conditions and substance abuse. I'll post my contact information to the chat. Happy to answer any questions, and I know the board has my contact info as well. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you. Next up will be Lori.
Good evening, Vicki and CB5. Today, as the borough president mentioned, the council voted to grant Madison Square Garden the 5-year special permit. I want to read from Eric's statement. The greatest city in the world deserves the greatest infrastructure in the world. By granting MSG a 5-year special permit, we're setting a clock that will help bring all stakeholders to the table to fix Penn Station. For the first time in decades, the opportunity to create a truly great Penn Station is here. Eric wants to especially thank CB5 for their contribution. Also today, Eric joined Forest for All and over 50 Forest for All New York City member organizations at a rally in support of legislation amending the city's charter to include consideration of trees in New York City's long-term planning. Intro 1065, sponsored by Councilmember Bottcher, was enthusiastically endorsed by Forest for All New York City. It mandates the city's first citywide urban forest plan to achieve 30% canopy cover, joining other large municipalities like Denver, Pittsburgh, and Dallas in better monitoring our urban forest. Next up, this week, Councilmember Bottcher's legislation, Local Law 35, went into effect. This legislation will put mental health services in every family homeless shelter in New York City. Until now, only 9 of the city's 247 shelters for families with children offered mental health services on site. Local Law 35 will reduce barriers to care, improve outcomes for families, and support children experiencing homelessness. And finally, we also have a movie night. October 3rd, we are sponsoring, get ready, Ghostbusters. It will be at 6:30 at Gansevoort Plaza. Once I have a flyer, I will send to Marissa. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up will be Peyton.
Hi, I'm Peyton Schulteis from Senator Kristen Gonzalez's office. I hope everyone had a great summer. Senator Gonzalez spent the summer at various events throughout the district, including doing a lot of tabling to connect with constituents throughout Senate District 59 on the ground. Additionally, ahead of the new school year that just started, Senator Gonzalez was thrilled to give away backpacks to students all throughout her district. Looking ahead, I know that when Assemblymember Epstein spoke earlier, he mentioned some shredding events. One of those coming up on October 22nd is being co-sponsored by Senator Gonzalez. They'll be at Bellevue Park from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. As always, our office is available to assist constituents, so please don't hesitate to reach out. Our number is 718-765-6674. Thank you.
Okay, next up, I think our last is Biani.
Hello, I hope everybody had a good summer. In the office, we had an amazing summer full of tabling, resource fairs, and back to school backpack distributions. We still have some backpacks left, so if you or anybody you know needs the backpacks, they're more than welcome to stop by the office and get them. We've also been receiving a few complaints about the Union Square Park East bike lane, and as a result, the council member organized a walkthrough of the bike lane with the community stakeholders who will address the issue, and that was on September 7th, and we're currently working on planning a follow-up meeting to see if we could discuss potential short and long-term solutions. Yesterday, we had an amazing housing clinic with Legal Aid, and we were able to connect people directly with legal housing services. And on October 3rd, we're having HPD at our district office from 10 to 5. So if anybody's having issues with HPD and they want to speak to somebody directly, they can always stop by our office. And I know this is not on TV5, but we're having a resource fair on November 17th at Baruch College. So if anybody is interested in coming, they're more than welcome to do so. I'm also going to leave my information in the chat. If anybody has any questions or concerns, you can always reach out to me.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe that ends the reps, elected reps, am I right?
Yes.
Okay. That moves us into the business section of the board where, as I mentioned, only board members are allowed to speak. Any board members who are attending remotely, remember to have your videos on during the meeting. So we're now in the business section, starting with a roll call vote to accept the June 8th and July 13th minutes. May I have a motion?
Motion approved. Second.
And a second. Thank you. Mary? That one's not working. Okay. Taylor?
Yes.
Nathaniel?
Yes.
Yes. Lockhart?
Yes.
Blake? Gordon?
Yes.
Brosnahan is here. Chu? Yes. Demal?
Yes.
Dosu? Ellington?
Yes.
Ford? Frizz?
Yes.
Garcia? Gashaw?
Yes.
Haas?
Yes.
Hader? Harris?
Yes.
Hirschberg.
Yes.
Hutton.
Yes.
Isaac. Kabak.
Yes.
Khan.
Yes.
Kalafarsky.
Yes.
Kinsella.
Yes.
Lavingia.
Yes.
Lakisiko.
Yes.
Levy.
Yes.
Lafayette.
Yes.
Marks.
Yes.
McCall.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Nazaro.
Yes.
Nye.
Yes.
Shapiro.
Yes.
Sherber.
Yes.
Sigmund.
Yes.
Slutsky.
Yes.
Southworth.
Yes.
Sung.
Yes.
Takahashi Real.
Yes.
Webb.
Yes.
Zoo.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Zolkowitz.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Okay, on to the chair's report. As I said earlier, welcome back after a little bit of a hiatus, but you've all been working hard on committee meetings. The first announcement I'd like to make is one that you've heard earlier in the evening, but in a unanimous vote today, the city council voted to extend the Madison Square Garden special permit for a shortened term of 5 years and not the 10 years recommended by the city planning commission. A much shorter term than the permit in perpetuity sought by MSG. This vote is momentous and a victory for our community. CB5 is grateful for Councilmember Bottcher for his unwavering and exemplary leadership. CB5 played a pivotal role in the review of the special permit, and we can be very proud of the work we have done. CB5 thanks the Department of City Planning for the careful work they did in crafting the language of the special permit. And we thank MSG staff for their continued engagement with our board. This vote is historic, and it sets the path for a transformed Penn Station. CB5 will continue to advocate on behalf of our constituents, as well as millions of users for the Penn Station, excuse me, we need and deserve. I'd like to give a very special thank you to Layla and to the committee and to the task forces and everyone who worked on this. This is really, it is momentous. So thank you very much. And I think we really need to give them a hand. Thank you. Moving on. In June of 2022, we passed a quote, CB5 open meeting, hybrid meeting guidelines. It was the resolution which addressed in great detail, quote again, our compliance with all relevant aspects of the open meetings law and in its conduct of hybrid meetings. In particular, we cited how to address both virtual and in-person attendance with limitations on virtual attendance, which hopefully is the best way to achieve quorum at our meetings. Until last July, as you know, we were still allowed to conduct all our meetings virtually. And obviously, until that time, we did not need to invoke the guidelines. Now that we're actually experiencing hybrid meetings, we will be sending out a much needed refresher on the guidelines regarding our attendance requirements in particular. Some of you who are new weren't here, were not on the board when we passed the guidelines. They are online, but we'll be sending them to you with some accessory information as well. It's new to all of us, and we want to make sure everybody truly understands the rules. The in-depth discussion and the Q&A will be held during your coming October committee meetings. Please review those guidelines so at your next committee meeting, your questions or need for clarification can be discussed and addressed. And just as a preliminary reminder, if you would like to attend a meeting virtually, you must ask the chair of your committee ahead of time. Lastly, I'd like to also mention that we just found out that we have 4 new board members who will be officially part of the CB5 family effective September 18th. As soon as we receive their applications and the information, committee assignments will be made and they will be joining the October cycle of meetings. We'll meet them all at the October full board meeting, and hopefully it'll be in-person introductions. So that is the end of the chair's report, which takes us to our committee reports. Starting with the Joint Landmarks, Parks and Public Spaces Committee resolution. Leila, are you going to present that? Yeah. You want to use this? I'm going to try. Okay. Maybe. And it's, okay, does that work at all?
A little bit.
A little bit, okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had a lovely summer. This is a joint resolution that was evaluated by the Landmarks Committee as well as the Parks and Public Spaces Committee. This is an application for the renovation of the Delacorte and Great Hill restrooms in Central Park. As you know, Central Park is an individual landmark, a scenic landmark. And something that you may not know is that all the community boards that are abutting to the park get to review and opine on proposals inside the park. Because it is a scenic landmark, everything in the park is landmark. The buildings, the trees, the grass, everything. I mean, we don't get a call every time they want to, like, certainly, if they were to do major alterations, they would have to submit some form of application. So here we are talking about two public restrooms, one that is within the Delacorte and the other one that is with the Great Hill facility. The application is coming from the landmark from the Central Park Conservancy. They are the stewards of the park, and the project is entirely funded by them. They are not for profit. Central Park does not receive any public funding from the New York City budgets. The proposal is a much needed restoration of the bathrooms. The footprint of the facilities does not change. So the outside buildings themselves are not changing in size and shape. There are some minor alterations to egress as well as signage. They're actually changing the signage for the bathroom on the park stone to mark the entrances. All of the work that is being proposed is either very harmonious for the buildings or a plain and simple restoration of what the buildings used to look like. So on the landmark standpoint, the committee was very satisfied with the quality of the work that is being proposed. All the replacement materials are contextual, identical to the historic materials, very good quality. The Parks Committee was tasked with really reviewing the operational side of the folks' public facilities, such as the length of the construction, the type of bathrooms, making sure that they're ADA accessible. And to all these operational questions, the committee had satisfactory answers. We made a number of suggestions that were well received by the Central Park Conservancy, including on ADA accessibility, and the committees, which acted as a committee of the whole, voted unanimously to recommend support of the proposal for the public bathrooms at the Delacorte Theater and Great Hill. Okay, are there any conflicts with this resolution? Questions to the resolution? Any comments? Okay, seeing none, we will take this to a vote. Bayless?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Lockhart?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yeah.
Rosenhill is yes. Chu? Yes. Delisle?
Yes.
Ellington?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Basho? Yes. Haas?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Hirschberg?
Yes.
Hutton?
Yes.
K-Bach?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Khan,
Yeah.
Palafarsky.
Yes.
Kinsella,
Yes.
Lavangia,
Yes.
Lakisico.
Yes.
Levy,
Yes.
Lafayette,
Yes.
Marks,
Yes.
McCall,
Yes.
Miller,
Yeah.
Lazaro,
Yes.
Nye,
Yes.
Shapiro,
Yes.
Sherburne,
Yes.
Sigmund,
Yes.
Sleskin,
Yes.
Southwood,
Yes.
Sutton,
Yes.
Takahashi Real,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Zolkowitz.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Todd?
Sorry, I just wanted to make a comment. I missed my chance. Can I do it now?
I guess, go ahead.
So I just wanted to add to what was said before. We should never take it for granted when our great public parks and spaces and these public-private partnerships and conservancies and other organizations that run it actually do a good job consistent with the history and tradition of our public spaces, and they take the time to listen to our community board comments. We had joint committees. It just, I mean, we all know that that's not always the case. So I just want to commend them, the Conservancy, for doing a good job. And it was just a terrific experience to watch both committees home in like a laser, you know, giving constructive criticism and having the Conservancy and the people responsible for this respond in a positive way. It like revives my faith in government and civil society.
Okay, thank you, Todd. Next up will be landmarks and Leila.
All right, so landmarks had 3 items this month, 2 resolutions and 1 request for evaluation. I would like those to be bundled.
Okay,
And I would like the resolutions to be deemed read.
so Dean?
Okay, so the first proposal is the Marble Collegiate Church. This is an application for exterior restoration. So the situation here is that the church that sits on the corner of Fifth Avenue and 29th Street had a beautiful, very historic adjacent building, the Bangkok building, and this building 10 years ago, very sadly, was demolished. And the owner of the site is in no rush to actually put a replacement building at this particular site, and therefore it has been vacant for the past 10 years and counting. Therefore, the western facade of the church has been exposed for all this time. And the church is showing that the brick of exposed facade is not really very complementary to the beautiful marble rest of the church. And also they are experiencing some, not terribly major, but annoying water penetration issues and waterproofing issues with this western facade. So what they're proposing to do, and in addition, when the Bangkok building was demolished, there was some damage that was done to the encasement of the staircase that actually sort of like sticks out. That is part of the church, but sticks out of the building. So they have to do some repairs to this area. They don't like the appearance of the western exposed brick wall. And in addition to that, they want to do some very minor alteration to the return, basically where the west facade meets south facade. There is this strip of marble that is original, and they want to do a little bit of patching. So what they're proposing is to do a veneer covering of the west facade with limestone veneer. So it's not your, it's not your super thin veneer. It's 2 inches thick, but 2 inches for an exterior wall is pretty thin. But we feel that it's going to be good. The reason why they want to use limestone is that the original quarry that was used to build the church originally in the turn of the century in the 19th century, sorry, has been entirely depleted. It's a quarry that is actually in Yonkers, very, very close to New York. So it's been entirely depleted. They looked at a lot of different marble options, really exploring very thoroughly the options that they had, and very unfortunately, they couldn't find a close enough match. So working with the Landmarks Preservation Commission, they basically identified that limestone would be a good alternative in terms of matching with the existing fabric of the church. Overall, the committee didn't have an issue with the application. We felt that going veneer is okay, and using limestone is okay. It's more porous, but we're hoping that it's going to be an okay situation. The issue that we had really was with this return from the west to the south, where basically they wanted to remove some of the historic fabric that is on the south. It's a small strip once again, but it is a really significant one because it's the primary facade. And the committee had an issue with that. So we basically asked them to explore the opportunity to change the design so that they wouldn't have to remove this existing historic fabric, that they would basically return the other way, that they would bring the south side into the west, or find a clear way to basically not do a return where there would be a clear cut. Removing the existing fabric, salvaging it, and reusing it when possible. And if not possible, sourcing some marble in a much smaller quantity than for the entire western facade, which seemed much more manageable. So the resolution that comes to you is a denial unless these conditions are met, which is the way we phrase conditional approvals with this community board. Once again, the church has been a very good steward of the building. They understand where we're coming from, and we were receptive to our constructive remarks, and the vote was unanimous.
Okay, are there any conflicts? Does anyone have a conflict with this resolution? Are there any questions to the resolution? Yes, David.
So, well, I understand that this site was actually a receiving site for air rights from the church. And it's part of a proposal that's currently defunct, I guess, to build an office tower there. So is there a chance that after all of this work, somebody finally reawakens, builds something on that site and it covers up all of the limestone that they're putting up on this facade?
Yeah, so we did ask this question and more on what's going on next door. The short of it is that there is no plan currently in any foreseeable future, whether it's tomorrow or far away, for anything to happen at this particular site. But they also further noted that the latest design, which once again is nowhere close to being built, was proposing a very deep recess that could actually create an exposed, sort of like open space plaza at the front of the building, which then raised the question of whether it was even permissible, as of right, according to zoning, which I didn't have the answer to the question. But certainly we do remember, at some point in the numerous iterations of this project, and seeing this design where basically there would be a plaza, which means that probably only half of the exposed facade would be covered and maybe the other half would stay. But there's also the possibility that they would build to the lot line. Keep in mind that this area is being rezoned fairly soon with the Midtown stack, which likely will call for some pretty strict building envelope and streetscape. So who knows? The very short answer, sorry for being so long, is yes, indeed, this whole limestone thingy could be covered.
Any other questions?
I did just want to say that the church is open on Open House New York weekend, which is coming up in October. And they've got amazing Tiffany stained glass windows. And it's also one of the only intact, I think, early 1800s interiors in the city. So it's worth taking a look into it. And then you can check out where the west wall is.
Any questions? Charles?
Hi, I was wondering, two questions. Is it feasible to ask the applicant if it's possible and feasible for the applicant to search internationally for the sourcing the marble, maybe Canada or somewhere like that? And would it be possible, I don't know if it would be in a redacted form, but would it be possible in the interest of transparency to make the communications public for the communications where these quarries have told the applicant that they don't have the marble ready or they can't get it by a certain date or things like that. I was wondering if some of the communications to do with the quarries saying that they can't provide the marble, maybe that could be made public in some sort of form if possible.
Okay, so they have gone through every possible quarry in the world. So short of NASA telling us that there's marble on other planets, and once again, this is what they're representing. They have gone through every possible quarry, and marble, basically they could not find a match. Not that they couldn't find marble, but it is very different in color from the rest of the building. Now, as far as asking for the release of the communications that they have, we typically take applicants to their word when they're telling us that they have explored every possibility. The one thing that I will say is that the Landmarks Preservation Commission is really stringent, and we will push applicants to really look at every possible option before they settle for something else. So, that gave the committee sufficient, confidence that indeed the applicant was making an accurate representation. These issues unfortunately come up very often. It's very sad that New York has been, and quite frankly, this entire country, has been on a mindset of, building beautiful buildings and then tossing them in dumpsters. The original Penn Station itself was entirely built in marble, and it sits in Secaucus marshes and making it the fanciest graveyard that you've ever seen. So it is very unfortunately an issue that we're faced with. This is something that at policy level, I think we really need to address. And being so wasteful is something that we have to change. But I would be a little bit reluctant to ask for emails and communication from the applicants because usually we know that this is something that LBC has done.
Any other questions? Any comments, Todd? Any comments? Mike.
Right. So maybe this congregation should think about the power of positive thinking and not get quickly by this partial roadblock that we're placing. The power of positive thinking. Yeah.
Okay, any other comments? Yes, John.
Yeah. Addressing one of the previous comments. If we're gonna be in the business of questioning statements that clients make of what they've done, I would say on the spectrum, seeing a whole range of applicants, I would say marble would be on the far end of the spectrum of trusting what they say. I think in their past applications is really, I think, done a much better job than typical applicants in doing the due diligence and doing the work, and committing to what they promised to do. So that's it.
Okay, any other comments? All right, seeing none, we go to the next resolution.
Okay, the final resolution is a request for evaluation The site is 576 Fifth Avenue. This is at the corner of 47th Street. And this is a building known as the Howard Building. It is located in the Diamond District in Midtown Manhattan. The building was constructed in 1905 and 1907, and it is actually the very first building that constituted the Diamond District. It is also worth noting that this is the last original building that stands on this block. The other buildings have been demolished. None of the buildings of the original Diamond District are landmarked, and therefore it's really the last remnant of a very, very important industry in our district. The building has known alterations at the ground floor, and it has lost its cornice, which are alterations that we frequently find with those kinds of buildings. But otherwise, it is incredibly well preserved and has a lot of integrity. All the details of the buildings that are very intricate, some very interesting carvings, as well as wrought iron balconies are still there, and they are original. The committee took great pain, and I want to thank members of the committee who were assigned to this proposal, Tony Testa and Kevin. I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher your name, Kevin. Fritz, thank you for the great work that they did in doing outreach to the property owner to make sure that they are aware of our efforts. They reached out to the Business Improvement District. They flyered, they reached out to transactional partners as the building has recently been sold to make sure that this was given in accordance and even beyond the requirements. The committee received a presentation by a fellow who is interested in the history preservation of this building. This gentleman doesn't have any particular stake. He's not a property owner of an adjacent building, or he's simply someone whose family has been involved in the diamond business and who cares about architecture. The building received the support of the Historic Districts Council for a history preservation effort, and the committee felt that it was worthy of support or request for evaluation, which means that we're not asking the Landmarks Preservation Commission to look at the building and look at its merits to determine the eligibility for the building, and the vote was unanimous.
Okay. Does anyone have a conflict with this resolution? Are there any questions to the resolution? Yes.
I think like it's so fascinating given the dynamic, the owner maybe wasn't involved in the conversation all the way through. I'm curious like what our thoughts are on just thinking about like the operational and commercial responsibilities they have to take on if the building were to be landmarked.
So the request for evaluation is actually a process, whether it is undertaken by us or directly by the Landmarks Preservation Commission, very clearly states that it does not require the support of the property owner. So this is really the purview of the city that considers that our assets are part of the public good, which is why they are authorized to undergo this process. We feel it is very important to take every effort to actually reach out to property owners, and then it's up to them to decide if they want to engage with us.
Any other questions? Any comments? Zoom.
Yes, I just would like to emphasize how really significant this building is. And also that there is no historic diamond district landmark, and that's
Okay. Any other comments? Samir.
Yeah, so I went and walked by the building and I looked at it again on Street View, just so I can get a sense of like what has changed. And I'm a little bit on the fence. I feel like the modifications are actually quite large, especially on the ground floor. So I'm a little bit on the fence on how I want to vote, but I'm looking forward to hearing what other people have to say, so I can decide.
Mike,
My comment, two comments. Number one, just the fact that this was the original home of the Diamond District, that itself rates positive vote on landmarking the building. And secondly, outside of that building, there's the largest real diamond on the planet. You don't know it's on 47th Street. I got a picture of it here for later.
is
Real
that
diamond.
part of your tour?
I don't do that.
Kevin. Sorry, Tony.
So, I just want to bring up, it should be noted that LPC very often considers structures for review that do have alterations to, especially the retail level. It's very common, especially buildings that, you know, are 120 years old. You see a lot of changes to that level in particular. Tin Pan Alley pops to mind as a recent, I think, success story where they had dramatic changes to the commercial levels. And again, this is only an application encouraging LPC to review the building and determine whether or not that is good.
Okay, Brad?
I'd like to second Tony's comments and also note that one of the other applications we have today for some landmarks is a individually landmarked building that has its ground floor, actually first two floors renovated in a way that is inconsistent with the original design. So I don't think that in my mind, rules it out from being considered for evaluation by LPC.
Okay, any other comments? Who's that all the way down? Oh, hi.
Hi, I also have some concerns about the changes. I think the original building, was spectacular. I appreciate that they might be okay with changes to the ground floor, but the cornice is also missing. And I also think, I know that demolition permits have been filed, or at least that's what it says online, that demolition permits have been filed for this location. It looks like the property owner does want to take the property down, and there's an empty lot entirely around it. It's gonna be the Excel Tower. They haven't decided if they're gonna do office or a hotel, but it looks like even without this building, they can build almost 500 homes. They would presumably be able to build more homes if they could acquire this lot, if it were demolished and they could acquire it. I know it's separately owned from the Excel lot, or at least that's what it says from the research I've done online. But it seems like to me, I'm a little concerned with a request to landmark a building that's been changed a lot, where the property owner already wants to demolish it, and it's next to an empty lot and can be turned into more housing or more homes. For me personally, I think it'd be one thing, and I'd be supportive if we did like a proactive survey of maybe some landmarks that were missed in the district, but to sort of try to jump in after demolition permits have been filed, and where there's the prospect of a lot of new housing on this site, I don't think that for me is persuasive. So I don't really agree with that being land sorted.
Okay, any other comments? Yes, Libby.
I'm just wondering, maybe to like assuage some of your concerns, how frequently under.
We don't do cross.
Sorry.
I mean, I don't want to step in.
But just to like piggyback on some of what's been addressed, like how frequently does the landmarks, like for the review coming in, are there any cases in which if they deem a building isn't actually historically significant, like are there instances in which that it doesn't get the landmarks approval and then whatever can be built by right of way gets built by right of way?
Well, that's questions.
That like how frequently does a review result in not a landmark?
I'll allow them. Leila?
It happens often.
Okay. Other comments? Who's down here? Yes, Sachi.
Hi, Sachi Takahashi Ryle. I did a little bit more research on the context around the building after the landmarks meeting. Just wanted to echo the same concern that I have that Ankur brought up, which is that the building that's going up around this lot is either going to be hotel, commercial, but also housing. And so I went to the landmarks law to see, like what is really to try to grapple with this personally and think about like what is the purpose of landmarks. I think that like so many of our city's beautiful buildings are really, really important. And so some of the lines that I was looking at were, does the building stabilize and improve property values? Does it foster civic pride? Does it protect and enhance the city's attraction to tourists? And does it strengthen the economy of the city? And in thinking through the opportunity cost of landmarking this building, for me, we lose housing, which is, transit and really important for our climate goals. We lose tax revenue because hotel, commercial housing, like there's a huge opportunity for it to be much larger and new. And so but I do recognize the need to celebrate the impact that the Diamond District has had. And for me personally, I don't think that this particular building does that. And I would hope that there are other ways that we can celebrate the impact of that particular economic district.
Hi, I understand and I appreciate what you're saying, but I think what's before us here as a landmarks committee is this worthy of landmarking? And you're making an assumption about housing and all of these things, and we should consider whether this is worthy of landmarking, just that, and whether landmarks should consider it, just that, not whether it's housing or something else, just the question before us.
And everybody here, I know it's hard because the voices don't travel in every direction. Zul.
Yeah, maybe Leila can address this further, but my understanding is with some zoning changes that are likely in the near future, that this landmark building could be used for housing. So we would save an extremely significant historic building in an historic district. Is it possible that it could be used as a residential?
Can I?
I'll allow the question.
Thank you. Yeah, I think
Please
it is important. I think we're getting ourselves lost a little bit on tangential topics that we are not germane to the resolution that is in front of us.
Do you want to go over those things? that are-
Yes, sure. The building is in a commercial district, and therefore it can be converted today. Today, you don't need to change anything. It can be converted to housing. So this property owner can absolutely create housing today. The building is, I haven't checked the FAR, but it is a very large building. It's a very dense building, 12 stories with built before the zoning resolution, before 1916, and therefore it is overbuilt, meaning that if you tear down this building today, you can replace it with a building that is going to be less dense than what it is today. So, I think that if we want to look at the housing argument, it's inappropriate because landmarks really make a very, very big effort not to concentrate you, so that we can't say, oh well, it was industrial site, it should not become a museum. We see adaptive reuse all the time, and this is something that landmarks does not reuse. We don't touch it. We don't say, oh, this was a hospital, it has to remain a hospital. We say this is a building that is culturally significant, that is historically significant, that is scenically significant, such as Central Park. And those are the reasons why we want to preserve it. Those are the criteria for historic preservation. So once again, I will entertain these questions, and I understand that, it's tempting to bring this into the equation, but it is really not germane to the review. And we can't act in a arbitrary and capricious fashion. We can't all of a sudden veer away from the rules, because then it really opens up to, it's a very slippery slope. So, but if we want to have that as part of the context, the building today, as it stands, is denser than what it can be replaced with. Furthermore, as many have noted tonight, the site that is adjacent to this building is entirely vacant and is slated for redevelopment. Our understanding, because the applicant came to us for a bonus FAR as part of the zoning for accessibility, where in exchange for a bonus, they're going to build an elevator and an escalator at another subway station. We understand that it is going to be a mix of hotel and residential. So it's not going to be 100% residential. Hotel is a commercial use. And, in the end, the site has been vacant and has not, gone through redevelopment. So the developer has the ability to really build whatever they want. And, at that particular point, we don't know what that means. There may be heavy hotel use because, the market is conducive to that type of development. But once again, as Renee underscored, this is not what is in front of us. What is in front of us is, do we see enough merits in this particular building to ask LPC to evaluate these merits to make the determination? So, it's not even like we're saying, yeah, it should be a landmark. We're saying it should be referred to LPC so that they can do the evaluation. And on the demolition permit, this is something that actually was brought to our attention after our committee meeting. There is indeed a permit that was actually issued. So I don't know when it was filed, but the permit is issued today, which means that yes, the property owner can demolish the building. But once again, those are criteria that we don't take into account because we look at the merits of the building, whether culturally, historically, scenically.
Okay, other comments? Yes, Lyndon.
I do have a question. How long does the evaluation process generally take? Just like roughly, is it like 6 months or is it a year?
Go ahead. Okay, so LPC will respond fairly quickly by saying whether they believe this building is on their, is part of their priorities. So they may very quickly say that this building is not part of their priorities, which, then is the end of, this advocacy.
Okay, Kevin, did you have a comment?
I had a comment. Just a point of clarification. The plans for the Excel super tower that they want to build on this site currently plan to build around the structure. So if you go into their website, you can actually see the tower is built 70 stories tall with this little niche built out for this building to be remaining. So to the concerns that some have expressed about housing or others, the tower will be built regardless of whether this building remains standing.
Okay. Any other comments? Yes.
Yes, that's correct. Everything I've seen shows that the.
Oh, this Greg, please.
Yes, I understand that the current Excel plans include retaining that building. The point that I was trying to raise earlier is that if it's going to be demolished, it may be able to combine with the existing one. You may get more housing out of that. And then as to the point about the considerations, I appreciate the aesthetic considerations and cultural considerations are paramount, but I agree with the point that Saki raised when she was reading from the original landmarks law, which included a discussion of economic factors, which I think are important. And so I think it's appropriate to sort of think about when we make a recommendation to whether the landmarks committee commission should look at a property about sort of the economic opportunities that are foregone. It's not free to landmark things. It costs something. Maybe it doesn't cost actual money, but it costs opportunity for more housing, for more hotels, for commercial use. And to me, this is going to be demolished anyway. The property owner doesn't want to have this, and it may forego some opportunities that I think are not worth it.
Okay, any other comments? Samir?
Just because I started by saying I want to hear what other people have to say, so I'm going to circle back. I think based off of what I heard other people say, I do understand that like maybe for the landmarks committee or for LPC, it is paramount for them to consider those, aesthetic considerations. But I think as a community board, our job is to focus on the residents. And once it's at LPC, they can focus on the residents or not, they can focus on the cornices or not. But I think as a community board, and for me personally, I want to focus on the people who live here. And that would mean taking into account these other considerations, so I plan on voting no.
Any other comments? Renee?
It's interesting that a resident who has nothing to do with this, like if we're taking into account a resident, it's important that a resident just came to the community board to bring this to us. Like that should held weight as well, I think. I don't know, to me it does.
Okay. Any other comments? Greg.
And I'm gonna speak this way because otherwise I'm gonna spit on the chair. I'm not gonna speak to the chair. I'll speak adjacent to the chair. I agree with Renee, and I do believe that there are a lot of residents who actually do want this. We're representing residents. I do believe there are residents who are going to want this. So I think we do have to take into the resident. I agree with take residents into consideration. I don't necessarily agree that all residents want it not to be landmarked. So.
Okay, any other comments? Mary.
Yeah, I just want to underscore what Layla said earlier, which is that this is already, if you tear this down, we're not going to get more housing. The way to get more housing is to preserve this and then fight perhaps to have it turned into housing. So if you want to talk about more housing, that's how we get there.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Oh, where? Charles.
Yes, I'll just quickly say that, the gentleman from the community did such a great job and even had his own PDF presentation and was very thorough and spoke really well. But I would like to point out with the housing comment, I think to remember that when people are looking for housing, especially the low income people and people who need affordable housing, having housing in the Diamond District is not always the best fit, as it's not very, residential, close to services that people who would benefit from housing would need.
Okay. All right, I think
If I can just make one comment that is, I think lots of assumptions are being made tonight, and lots of those comments are, being made as if they are truth. I just want people to understand that historic preservation is actually a source of economic growth. I'm going to give you one example. All the tech companies in New York City have their headquarters in landmark buildings. Google in the Maritime Terminal, Facebook in the Moynihan, back of the Moynihan Farley Post Office, and Apple in a historic building that is actually not landmark, but nonetheless was built in the 1920s, catty corner from Penn Station. And we see it over and over and over. The retail corridors that are strong are actually in historic districts. They're in Soho, they're in the Meatpacking District, they're in the Ladysmith Historic District, they're in the North, in the Madison Square North Historic District. So I think that jumping to the conclusion that a historic building is going to be a liability is simply not true. So, these considerations of economic strength, as much as, LPC may choose to, weigh down very heavily on that, even if they do, basically, these stocks of buildings, including in affordable housing, actually come out in black ink on the balance sheet.
Okay, I think we have heard from everyone and some twice around, so we will go on to our next resolution. You didn't do the second one.
That's correct, yes. And forgive me for that, I took them out of sequence. So the final resolution is actually an application for alterations at the Look Building, 488 Madison Avenue. This is a individual landmark. The main entrance of the building is located on Madison Avenue. The landlord has actually secured a large tenant for the building, which is really exciting. And as a result, they want to accommodate the needs of this tenant by creating a separate entrance on the side street on 51st Street. So the alterations that they're making are actually pretty massive, but they're done in a very tasteful way. The materials that they're using is contextual with the existing material. They are creating a small canopy that is also in stainless steel and glass. The fenestration of this new door entrance is done in a way that is symmetrical and well designed. You know, once again, although it is a significant alteration, the committee felt that it was an appropriate one, and this was vote in support, unanimous.
Okay. Does anyone have a conflict? Are there any questions to the resolution? Any comments? Yes.
So I just
Samir.
want to make sure I don't miss it. Are we still bundling these resolutions? for
Yes.
vote? Okay, can I request that we unbundle that second?
Well, you can, when we take the vote,
Sure.
you can call out the one that you'd like to, we can take one vote and then just say, I vote differently for whichever one you
Okay,
want.
so that would be the second one.
Okay,
I just want to make sure that the
Yeah.
order is correct.
okay. Anyone else? Okay, and did we finish comments? Any comments? No. Okay, then we will take this to a vote.
Kalis,
Yes.
Atheno,
Yes.
Malakar,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes, but no on two.
Brosnahan is yes, Chu,
Yes.
Dalal,
Yes, but I'm not for the 576 Fifth Avenue, so I guess it's number 2, no on that.
Wellington,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Gaucho,
Yes.
Haas,
Yes to 1 and 3, no to 2.
Harris,
Yes.
Hirschberg,
Yes.
Hutton,
Yes.
K-Back,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Palafarsky.
Yes.
Kinsella,
Yes.
Lavangia,
Yes on 1 and 3 and no on 2.
Lakisico,
Yes.
Levy,
Yes.
Lafayette,
Yes.
Marks,
Yes.
McCall,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nazaro,
Yes.
Nye,
Yes.
Shapiro,
Yes.
Sherburne,
Yes.
Sigmund,
Yes.
Slutskin,
Yes.
Southworth,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Takahashi Real,
Yes on 1 and 3, no on 2.
Webb,
Yes and 1 and 3 and no and 2.
Sue,
Yes on 1 and 3, no on 2.
Young,
Yeah.
Sepowitz.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, thank you. That moves us to, X reports.
Thanks, Vicky. We've had 2 presentations and 1 working issue. We heard from GOE's superintendent, of District 2, Kevin Dwyer, and he was very excited and upbeat about our district, this year. He spoke to us about our local schools. Our class sizes this year in our district are pretty manageable. They're a little bit, larger than last year, but still within a range between 17 and 30, generally around 25 kids per class. He told us that we have enough teachers in our district, including the bilingual teachers, and that everyone is really set for the returning students, including new students, many who are from the migrant families. He spoke about a new curriculum that is being investigated, which is phonics-based. They're looking at several different programs. Teachers were training this summer. They underwent a lot of training in terms of our proficiency in our district. Students in CV5 haven't fallen behind like some of the other districts. We've been very lucky. Our proficiency looks the same in reading and literacy. In terms of math, we're a little bit behind, but it's being addressed. The preparedness of our schools for the new students, the superintendent seemed to be very upbeat. We're not losing any funding. We have the money for our teachers. And everything seems to be on track despite a lot of new students. We also heard from our Atlas, our health and hospitals, about the HERC sites. If you don't know what a HERC site is, those are the sites run by health and hospitals, and they're deemed humanitarian relief centers. We have the Roosevelt Hotel, which is the major intake center for migrants. And we learned about what is being offered for them as they come through. They're seeing people every single week. In the Roosevelt Hotel now, it's only families, women and children. The men are being moved to congregate shelters on Randall's Island and other sites in Queens. We learned that when people arrive, they're screened, they're asked, how they got there, feeling what their needs, they're screened for services and they're connected to those services, whether it's a peace worker or health services. They're given information on how to make an asylum claim. It's really good for the beginning of school because it gives people a lot of structure. Younger children in the sites are being connected with Head Start programs and other benefits. Laura mentioned that they're trying to ticket people out if people want to leave New York. And the thing they're hearing is that people want work permits. They want to work, they want OSHA training, they're very anxious to work. And they're doing the best they can to welcome people as best they can, given just the great numbers that we're seeing. And then finally, we talked about the budget. Our budget, our district needs statement is going to be due next month. Our teams are working, reaching out to people, stakeholders within the district. There is a survey on our website. If you haven't filled it out, please do so. If there's any other thing that you've seen in the district that you think could be addressed by a budget request, please let us know. Either reach out to me or Julie or Larissa and let us know so that we can add it to that list. Fill out the survey. And that's it.
Great, thank you. Okay, that takes us to SLAP, state licenses and permits, Nick.
Thanks, Vicky. SLAP has one resolution for you tonight. May I have it being read?
Yes, so Dean.
This is an application for a new on-premises liquor license at 377 Park Avenue South, between 26th and 27th Streets. The premises is about 1,500 square feet on the ground floor, 1,500 square feet of space in the basement, not for patron use, and 400 square feet of interior space on the mezzanine. The premises has an occupancy of 74 people. It'll be operated as a restaurant with approximately 10 tables, 40 chairs, and 10 bar stools. There will be one patron bar and one service bar. The interesting thing about this location is that it's on a block with no residences on either side of the street. The nearest residential building is either over a block away or around the corner. And because of that, the committee was a little bit more flexible with this operator with respect to hours of operation. Typically, we don't like to see hours later than midnight or 1 a.m. where there's dense proximity of residences and applications. The applicant originally requested 4 a.m. Hours till 4 a.m. 7 nights a week, but the committee would not consider that. Eventually, the operator did agree to closing at 2 a.m. 7 days a week, which is what the residents nearby wanted. And which is consistent with our precedent. They agreed to indoor hours no later than 2 a.m. every day and outdoor hours no later than 10 p.m. every day. They don't have any outdoor space yet, but they do intend to apply for a sidewalk cafe, but they've agreed in advance to limit those hours to 10 p.m. Their music will be at background level. They'll watch their garbage pickup so that it's not inconveniencing, and they agreed to all of our other sample restrictions. You can take a look at them in the resolution, and the committee recommended denial of the application unless the operator agreed to all of their restrictions, which they did, and the vote was 12-0-0-0.
Okay, does anyone have a conflict with this resolution? Is anyone else freezing the way I am?
Yeah.
Any questions to the resolution? If I'm chattering, you'll know why. Any questions? Any comments to the resolution? Okay, we can vote.
Bayless,
Yes.
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Rosenhan is yes, Chu,
Yes.
Dalal,
Yes.
Ellington,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Masha,
Yes.
Ross,
Gone.
Harris,
Yes.
Hirschberg,
Yes.
Button,
Yes.
Payback,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Palafarsky.
Yeah.
Kinsella.
Yes.
Lavangia,
Yes.
Lovisico,
Yes.
Levy,
Yes.
Mafia,
Yes.
Marks,
Yes.
McCall,
Yes.
Miller,
We just left.
Nazaro,
Yes.
Nye,
Yes.
Shapiro,
Yes.
Sherburne,
Yes.
Sigmund,
Yes.
Slutskin,
Yes.
Southward,
Yes.
Sun,
Yes.
Takahashi Maria, Real,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Zokowitz.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. That takes us to transportation and environment, EJ.
Thanks, Ricky. Tinny had one resolution this one. We'd like to have it deemed read.
So Dean,
This resolution was for a bus stop request from Owl Bus Incorporated for an intercity bus stop on the east side of 8th Avenue between 28th and 29th Streets. The operator proposes 6 daily drop-offs, Monday to Sunday, occurring between 11 a.m. and 1:30 a.m. and 6 daily pickups between 8:30 a.m. and 7 p.m. This would be an intercity bus service which would operate between New York and locations including Wilmington, Delaware, Baltimore, Maryland, Boston, Massachusetts, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Albany. Despite how long of a public session we had in response to the bus application, the opinion of the community and the committee were entirely unanimous and extremely straightforward. Dozens and dozens of residents and members of the public came to speak out against another bus stop at DOT's suggested location. The issues cited included, but were not limited to, proximity to a naturally occurring retirement community, namely Penn South, the existing M20 City and Go New York sightseeing bus stops that already pick up at the location, the added effects of a new intercity bus stop, which would include loitering, lining up, waiting, luggage, clogging sidewalks, trash, and squalor. A 3-year construction project that's already happening nearby on 28th Street, which already adds to confusion and congestion. The increased Uber and taxi pickups that would result in the same location. Accidents and pedestrian vehicle hits that actually already occur from the current congestion. Proximity to nearby facilities for both cerebral palsy and a pediatrician's office. And protest by representatives from Eric Botcher's office and protest from representatives from FIT nearby. So there was unanimous objection from the community. We reiterated in our resolution our standing position that intercity bus stops like this really shouldn't be on the streets of the district at all, but should operate out of the Port Authority bus terminal as in other cities. But as far as this specific location goes, the committee unanimously characterized the community feedback as universal significant objection to this intercity bus stop location by a vote of 14-0.
okay, does anyone have a conflict? Are there any questions? Are there any comments to this resolution? Okay, seeing none, we will vote.
Payless,
Yes.
Ratheno,
Yes.
Lowther,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Brosnan is yes, Chu,
Yes.
Delisle,
Yes.
Ellington,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Gasho,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hirschberg,
Yes.
Button,
Yes.
Payback,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Palafarsky.
Yes.
Kinsella,
Yes.
Lavangia,
Yes.
Lovisico,
Yes.
Levy,
Yes.
Mafia,
Yes.
Marks,
Yes.
McCall,
Yes.
Nazaro,
Yes.
Nye,
Yes.
Shapiro,
Yes.
Sherburne,
Yes.
Sigmund,
Yes.
Slutskin.
Yes.
Southward,
Yes.
Sun,
Yes.
Takahashi Real,
Yes.
Webb,
Step out.
Sue,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Zokowitz.
Yeah.
Okay,
Here comes Webb.
Here comes Pete.
Webb,
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. That takes us to our last resolution of the evening, parks and public spaces. Craig.
Thank you, Vicky. I'd like to have, we have one resolution from that committee, and I'd like to have it deemed read.
So Dean,
Thank you. So this is an application from Hangar 4 for a National Coffee Day activation, which is an inflatable oversized coffee bean at the Bryant Park Fountain Terrace on September 29th of this year. Just as to start off, National Coffee Day is on Sunday, October 1st. So Lore is looking to celebrate that with an activation. As a reminder, Lore has a coffee stand by the fountain in Bryant Park already, so they're a presence in the park. And what they're doing is they're going to bring in an inflatable coffee bean, 16 feet high, 28 feet wide, 16 feet deep. Pictures next to it, and there will be small stanchions next to it with QR codes. You can sign up. You can use your phone to find out more information about Coffee Day, National Coffee Day. You can also sign up to win a grand prize, which I don't know what that grand prize is. Coffee related. I would think. You can also, they will also at their stand have free coffee, which I'll be passing out. There will be different types of coffee. I believe one of the questions that was asked was, will it be decaf? I think so. So, the events is a one-day event. Its setup starts at 4 in the morning and breakdown is at 10 at night. The event itself is between 8 and 5. There's no amplified sound with this event. And there's no fees. As I said, the signage will be minimal. There'll be the normal cleaning that Bryant Park make sure it happens with the sanitation team as well. They expect about 500 people throughout the day. There is no social media presence. If they take pictures, it'll be of the actual installation itself and used internally. They're not going to be posting anything on social media, so we didn't have to worry about that. There's no net loss of seating. Any seats that are lost here will be moved around so within the park, park goers can still sit. We did put in our usual clause that we've been putting in for the past few cycles with Bryant Park and the other parks to encourage the parks to explore whether future partners, generators and other tools that are not harmful to the environment. This inflatable gets inflated within, I think, 3 minutes or something to that effect. So it's not a significant impact. And this was approved by the committee unanimously 16-0-0-0.
okay.
And happy National Coffee Day.
Any conflict with this resolution? Any questions to it? Yes, Brad.
Sorry if you mentioned it, but does this represent a source of funding for
Yes.
Bryant Park? Okay.
Yeah, that's what they do. They will.
Yeah, I figured. I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any comments? Yes,
I
Sue.
could use an espresso back.
They did say they're serving decaf, didn't they?
That's the question.
Right. Any comments? Seeing none, this is our last vote of the evening.
I don't miss doing this.
Bayless,
Yes.
Athena,
Yes.
Alokar,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Brosnahan is yes, Chu,
Yes.
Dalal,
Yes.
Ellington,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Dasha,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hirschberg.
Yes.
Hutton,
Yes.
Kabak,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Kalafarsky.
Yes.
Kinsella.
Yes.
Lavandia.
Yes.
Lagisico.
Yeah.
Levy.
Yeah.
Mafia,
Yes.
Marks,
Yeah.
McCall,
Yes.
Nazaro,
Yes.
Nye,
Yes.
Shapiro,
Yes.
Sherburne,
Yes.
Sigmund,
Yes.
Slutskin.
Yes.
Southworth,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Takahashi Real,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Sokolis.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. That concludes the resolution. Is there anyone from the public who would like to apprise the board on any item that they did not speak to the board about during the public hearing? I don't, does anyone raise your hand if there is? Mike?
I'd like to speak as a public member, not
Okay.
a community board 5 member. For those people in the community board that don't know it, there are free tours, historical tours, and you could learn about the Flatiron District from Miriam Berman, who happens to be the author of one of the most learned books on Madison Square. She gives a tour of Madison Square area, historical tour, every third shift. I do one of the shifts and Fred Cookingham does another one of the shift. Free tours. There's also free historical tours of the Garment District, given 3 times a month for free. Did I mention that? That are offered by an expert in the Garment District who's been working there for 60 years, believe it or not, and that would be me. And you can look on my website and learn about these 2 areas that are right in our Community Board 5, the history of them. Because we all walk through them, but we don't know what's going on, how they got there, what's going on. So please check my website, Miriam Berman, take a free tour. If you're not happy, you get double your money back.
What's the website?
Okay, thank you very much, Mike. That concludes the evening. Any other business? That concludes the evening, and I encourage you to all take a look at those guidelines for your upcoming meetings, and you will be receiving something as an email as well, so see you in October. Good night. Meeting adjourned.